Welcome back to the Hockey Show, and today we are talking about the trade that went down between the Philadelphia Flyers and the Anaheim Ducks. Now, this is a strange trade, because it's not a usual one we see, and one that I'm sure the Philadelphia Flyers would not have liked to have made. Actually, they've said pretty much that exact sentence, because it is a shame, but they kind of brought it upon themselves by the looks of things. So, first off, the trade that happened, Cutter Gauthier being sent over to the Anaheim Ducks after having a tremendous tournament for the World Juniors, and also just being a fantastic young player. Cutter Gauthier, he is winning the gold with Team USA and just being a fantastic power forward, soon to be in the league. I would assume he can make the NHL next season. I think he's kind of got the type of, he's really driving, like a real power player that I think a team that, like the Ducks, can use even if he's not at his best. I think he's the type of guy that will break into the roster and will have a solid rookie season, probably next season. But he is sent over to Anaheim, and in return, the Philadelphia Flyers get Jamie Drysdale, the former 6th overall pick. He is 21 years old and currently has 5 points so far in this season, as well as a 2025 second-round pick. So, this trade goes down, and I'm sure at this point, if you're watching this video, you've seen what has happened. The drama between this team. Cutter Gauthier will not sign a new contract to stay with the Flyers, and he has made it explicitly clear, apparently, that he has no desire at all to stay on this team. And from everything you can probably look at, it is not a surprise, because in his interview right after being drafted by the Philadelphia Flyers, he's asked by some lady, I'm sure you've seen this clip on Instagram or somewhere, that he's asked, who was your favorite player growing up? He said the Sidney Crosby, favorite player. He's questioned that his favorite team growing up is the Pittsburgh Penguins. He loves that team, just plain and simple. And the Flyers drafted him, and according to Briere, that he said that he'd be willing to play for the team, but he's been flip-flopping, so maybe he didn't want to be on the team. I think regardless of anything, there's no signs ever that he would have want to have played on this team, and it's not surprising, and I bet maybe he triggers something for the rest of the young guys that the Flyers organization could have, because you have a coach like John Tortorella, who isn't the nicest coach in the world, if you don't know, and he probably is not the best rookie coach you want to go into the NHL with, especially in this scoring era. If you want to be a superstar player like Cutter Gauthier, the guy's not going to give you that kind of ice time to really do that. So, by all accounts, it seems like, why on earth would they assume that they should draft this guy over anybody else they could have drafted? I mean, of course, he's the best player, he's one of the best ones he could have drafted. But anyways, it doesn't make sense. I feel like they brought this upon themselves, and Philadelphia is not handling this well. From random analysts talking bad about him to guys like, not Milbury, what's his stupid name? The guy who used to be a commentator, the guy who's now like their commentator, their coach's assistant or something like that. Whoever that guy's name is, him talking about him, the weird analyst saying that they're going to be tough to him, which is fine, but it's like, it just shows this organization's very salty, and the John Tortorella saying they didn't know him from a hole in a wall. It's just like, the respect, like because Briere was like, we didn't want to trade him because it would be hard on the player and like what he would get scrutinized for. But look at what's going to happen now. Look at the fans on Twitter, for the Philadelphia fans, talking about him now. Like I think this is probably the worst way to go about it. So I don't know. This a strange situation for the Flyers, and Jamie Drysdale in return I think is a solid pickup. They don't really have that right-handed puck-moving offensive defenseman for the future. I don't think this Philadelphia Flyers roster currently, the way it's built, really needs one. So I feel like this might be kind of like another Gostisbehere situation where a solid offensive producing defenseman cannot thrive on the Flyers and will eventually be bounced to another team to have a better career elsewhere. That would be my guess. But for the Anaheim Ducks, the other end of this trade, things just get better for this team. If being a Ducks fan right now is huge. They have Trevor Zegras, they have McTavish, Troy Terry, Leo Carlson, and now they get to add a power forward in Cutter Gauthier. all the pieces of the puzzle, from super offenseman producer and Trevor Zegras to his playmaking buddy, who's a little bit more useful in Troy Terry. Then you have Leo Carlsson, who just seems like he's going to be one of those all-around amazing players. To then Cutter, Gauthier, and McTavish just thrashing the other team. The Ducks offensively are huge, and defensively they've got Mintyukov and Zellweger coming up. The Ducks, this is a huge pickup for them. Just so much more, just more youth being added to this team. It's a shame that Drysdale is gone, but I think with guys like Mintyukov, how good he's playing, and Drysdale not really super being that impressive at this point, I think this is huge. The Ducks got a real steal here. I think they are a sneaky, sneaky team that is going to be one of the most dominant teams over the next 20 years. That's not what I meant to say. Over these 20s, the 2020s, soon to be. Because I think right now they're building up in about a year. They might start really growing and start being something truly special. Because this offense, this is the type of offense that I could see coming from like the Devils. Just a super producing offensive machine with back-end defense as well. And if they can have a good goaltender in Dostal, if they can flip Gibson and Dostal's the guy of the future. I've seen him in the AHL play. He looks so good all the time. I've seen him like 3 times or so, I think, in the AHL. And he always looks, he's never disappointed in a game that I've seen him in. He's always making some really good saves. And I think when it comes to it, he's a goaltender that can hold them down for the future. They've got offense of the future. They've got defensive pieces for the future. This team is solid. Philadelphia, once again, showing this franchise makes no sense. They might be in a playoff spot now, but they are not winning the Stanley Cup anytime soon, and I'm sure they'll do the typical Flyers thing that they used to do, where they are in the playoffs this year and will be right back out of it next year. So that is really got to say, is Philadelphia. Moral of the story, what the hell is wrong with you? You are a franchise that makes no sense, basically ever, and you are shooting yourself more in the foot every day, and I don't even know. This franchise just sucks. And for the Ducks, you guys are very good. You're in very good hands, apparently. But anyways, that's all I got to say. So thank you for watching this. If you've made it this far, please, I'm begging you, pick up your free subscription down below. And until next time, too sweet. Have an amazing day. And ta-ta for now.